If you look at the situation we also have in the country, people are suffering from abject poverty. Yes, abject poverty, and especially in the northwest and the southwest region because of the crisis and all the rest. Who have Cameroonians who find it difficult even to go to school because of lockdowns that make it difficult for people to go to school, for people to carry out businesses. We have people who produce their crops in the farms in some of these areas. They cannot transport them to sell, and their living condition becomes difficult. You have people who have suffered a lot because of this crisis, that life has really become unbearable as far as they are concerned. Unemployment rate. So the bishops, in their message on the 11th of January 2025, we had a document that came out, and in that document we spelled out some of the challenges that we are going through in the nation. And at the same time, we also appeal to the government. After giving them the challenges, we appeal to them, if this or this can be done, it's going to help to better the situation. And of course, we have mentioned things like corruption, we've mentioned things like embezzlement, and that is common in our society. And if all of us at our different levels, our consciences are properly formed, it is going to help a long way to see to it that we improve on our situation.
Now, my Lord, I mean, just like it is accused that many of the citizens don't read these documents when they are produced, it also appears that the leaders don't also read these documents. So it's always joked around that to hide anything from a Cameroonian, put it in a document. I mean, these leaders are your Christians. You see them every day in church. They come and you pray for them. Do you talk truth to power to them on the pulpit?
Of course. We don't use the pulpit to settle scores. We use the pulpit in order to preach the gospel. And most of the people who are working in the government, they're Christians. Maybe Catholic Christians, Presbyterians, Baptists, or whatever. Some of them are not Christians. And it is possible that in areas and moments that we happen to meet, maybe they are making a visit somewhere and we are invited. Take an example, if a minister is coming to Boya and I'm invited to be part of the meeting that the minister is coming to hold, and I go there and I meet the minister in the course of discussion, there's also some of these things, some of these challenges, some of these difficulties that we bring to their knowledge, So I totally disagree that the church is silent. The church is not silent. The church is speaking. And I think what we are doing now is very important, because there are some people who don't even know that the bishops wrote this message. There are some people who don't know about it. There are some people who don't know that last year the bishops wrote about, encourage people that they should go and register to vote. This year they don't know that in March, on the 25th of March, the bishops wrote presidential elections and also gave directives on how the elections were supposed to be carried out. And the bishops, when they write and the messages go out, it is expected that at the level of the different government authorities that somebody can also look at it and be able to share the information. But I think that one of the things that we have to do is that, take for instance Dmrtv. When those messages come up, you can pick up that message and see how to understand that message, make the message to go out, and to be able to let the people understand what the church is doing. So it is a misconception to say that the church is silent. If you have listened to some of the bishops, maybe either during some homilies or during other occasions and gatherings, they have mentioned certain things as far as the situation in the country is concerned. And I think that it is a responsibility. And I would say that the government have their own part to play, but we, the Christians too, we have our own part to play. It's not a single group that is supposed to be blamed as far as our challenges are concerned. But of course, those who are in the government, those who have the authority, they also have the duty and the responsibility to follow up, to make sure that things are proper, are moving on well in the country. And Yannick, I have to be honest with you, I don't think that the government can give employment to all those who leave university.
That's right.
It will be difficult. I don't think, yes, the roads are there, they are bad and all the rest. So we are saying that like now, they're discussing on the budget. After that, they're going to make allocations as far as different activities are concerned to be executed within the course of the year. The question is, when this budget is approved and these roads are supposed to be constructed, maybe electricity energy is supposed to be improved, maybe security and all the rest, is there a proper follow-up of the people who take the money of the state in order to do these constructions? So that they do it, and they do it according to the plan that is submitted. I think that is very, very important. Because if the budgets are made, the money is there, the money is sent out, and the people who are supposed to execute the projects, they don't execute the projects properly. And there is no supervision, and they are not brought to book, then we are not going to have any improvement. So we all have a duty and a responsibility to make sure that when jobs are given, the people who have to make sure that these jobs are carried out and carried out properly, that they do their work for the good of Cameroonians.
I like to the next question is called from a fellow bishop like you, the Bishop of Bafoussam, His Lordship Paul Oshikone. He made a reference saying that the people, when the people are hungry, they're angry, the government has the right to give them the basic amenities so that the people can be able to participate in the growth of the church. And we've also had other bishops speak like that also. But they've come under attacks from some state missionary, and they've been having coordinated attacks and all of that. And many feel there is this criticism online that the generality of the bishops are quiet because they don't want to fall under such attacks from those who attack them in government and go scot-free. First of all, what do you make when the bishops come under attack and nothing is done by the state to address such issues? And then these other claims on social media that the other bishops don't speak because they don't want to be under attack.
You cannot say the other bishops don't speak. The bishops will speak at a conference. And that is why I'm talking to you about what we wrote in January and what we also wrote in March. So, any bishop in his own diocese can also have some realities that he experiences. And if he has those realities that he experiences, he has a right to talk about it. And when you talk about it, the government may attack you that you have said it against the government. If you say some other thing, maybe the people in the diaspora who attack you that you have said this. If you say this, maybe the social media and all the rest. So you have situations like that, and that is why the church sometimes comes under attack, because sometimes people have lots of expectations in their mind. They are sensational about certain things, and they think that if the bishop doesn't speak the way they want, then the bishop has not done anything. No, there are different ways of expression, and of course the truth is that the bishops, the successors of the apostles, they know very well what is supposed to be done. They have a conscience. They're the voice of the voiceless. And when there are situations that are not proper, the bishops, they speak.
That's right.
So we cannot say that the bishops have been silent. And even in the face of attacks, when we make a statement, if I make a statement here now, the people who are for what I've said, the people who are not against it. And you always have these differences in opinion. You always have the differences in opinion. But what is essential and what is necessary is that we must all stand for the truth. We must speak the truth. If I know I'm speaking the truth, and I know that my conscience is clear, no matter what you write about me, no matter what you say about me, if my conscience does not rebuke me, it's a non-event. It's a non-event. And we cannot allow ourselves to be carried away by social media. Because those in the social media, those who write, they're even those who don't live the reality. They don't know the reality on the ground. The situation on the ground, they're not conversant with it. And I can talk to you about Boya and the challenges of Boya and the crisis we're having in my diocese because I go down to the people. You have gone out with me and other members of your team. You know the places we have gone to. You know the challenges we have faced. So it is important for us to understand that the church will not go and make noise all over about what it is doing. But the church remains the moral authority in order to make sure that it guides the people. And whether you are in the government or whether you are not in the government, if there are issues that we have to share, if there are issues that we have to discuss about, we are going to discuss them and we are going to talk about it.
Now, my Lord, there is this other concern that sparked a lot of discussion, both online and even on mainstream media. The fact that, for some reasons, the interpretation and misinterpretation that the bishops were invited to the presidency and they went there, they had a conversation, and despite the letter that was sent, many still feel that the church leaders are compromised because of their too close relationship with the status quo that has in effect has affected their speech and their ability to act as the moral conscience of the society. My Lord, can you walk us through that meeting you had, and I may reiterate on what you wrote in that letter, and then come back to address this issue of the compromisation of your ability to speak for the people because of your too much proximity with the status quo?
Yes, we were invited to the presidency in order to get our opinion as far as the elections that were to be organized were concerned. And I think that when we went to that meeting, we did not go there in secret. We went there publicly. If we are invited by the government authority to come and give our opinion on how they can organize elections and organize it well and all the rest, the church cannot say no. It was not only the bishops that went there. We did not go there to endorse the candidacy of the president. We never even discussed about his candidacy. Other people went there because of their political inclinations. They had to endorse the president and all the rest. We went there as the bishops who were also going to give our own advice. If you call me as your spiritual father to come and advise you on something that you want to do, I cannot say no. I'll be filling in my responsibilities. And we went there and we met with the Secretary General of the Presidency who invited us, and he had an introductory talk while they were inviting us as spiritual leaders to get our impression as far as the situation in Cameroon is concerned and the elections that they are supposed to organize. And before going there, the president of our conference, His Grace Archbishop Andrew Nkea, had prepared the documents that the bishops just signed and sent out, just in case maybe the higher authorities do not have copies. that he wished the bishops should be able to give the copies. And we went there with the message that we wrote on the 11th of January 2025 about the situation of the Cameroonian people, their challenges, their difficulties, and at the same time we get some proposals on what can be done in order to make things to be better, looking at the present state of the country. And we also had a letter that we wrote on the 25th of March this year, just about 2 months after the first letter. We wrote that one on the presidential elections that was coming up, presidential elections. And there, of course, we also gave concrete proposals on how the free and fair elections should be organized. And that once the elections are organized, and at the end of the day, people go and they do the voting, because in April last year, 2024, we had written encouraging people to go and vote. It's their right to go and register. And some people, of course, heeded to it. Some people did not. Yes. So we went to the Unity Palace with these 2 documents. And the president of our conference thanked the representative of the head of state for inviting us to hear from us. And the bishops were delegated to be there. We gave these 2 letters that we want to get our advice as far as the upcoming election is concerned. This is what we think about the Cameroonians. This is what they are going through from our concrete reality that we have in the field. And at the same time, we said, you are about to organize these elections. This is what we think. If you follow the advice that we have given here and organize the elections accordingly, then it is going to pass and pass well, so that so that peace should be able to reign. And of course, peace cannot reign without justice. And that is why we had to say there must be transparency, there must be accountability, and make sure that the elections are organized and organized well. And I think after we finish, we decided, the Secretary General decided to put into writing what we went there to do, what we did, and when we left. We were there for a meeting about an hour. And after that, the communique was sent out. And to be honest with you, Yannick, I'll tell you that about a month ago, I was just discussing with one of my priests, and the priest told me, I was not happy that people went to see to the presidency, and after that, I would have even advised that people should have written to say what you went there and did, so that people should not misinterpret you. I said, Father, let me send it. I just sent it to him immediately. And when he said, Bishop, I'm sorry. So, Yannick, we are talking about we are too close. How are we too close? Yes, how are we too close? We are bishops, and as bishops, if I have, as I mentioned, if there is a meeting that is taking place here, and a minister is coming, or the governor of this region invites me, if I'm available, I cannot say I'm not going to go. There are government authorities. And we go, if I have documentations or ask authorization for schools or for hospitals, I go there. If there are other challenges that Christians bring to me about what they are going through in their different areas, they come to me. I go there and I talk. I go to them. I even go to a ministry that I don't even know the minister personally, but I go there because I have issues that I have to present as far as the common good is concerned. There are some of the ministers and government officials that are our brothers, that are our sisters. There are some of them that are our friends. And the fact that you are a brother or a sister to somebody doesn't mean that if the person does something wrong, you cannot point out. By the way, do we also look at the positive things that this government is doing? Do we also look at the positive things that these ministers are doing? The positive things that the governors are doing and all the rest. They are also human beings. They may have their weaknesses. Nobody refuses it. Even in the church, we are also human beings. We have our weaknesses. Nobody is perfect. And that's why Jesus invites us, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. We are spiritual guides. And as spiritual guides, if somebody is in need of you and invites you to advise him spiritually, to advise him as far as life is concerned and all that, you cannot refuse. So it's a misconception that because you know somebody in government, because you relate with that person in government, then you cannot speak the truth. It's not the Catholic Church. We don't, because you know me, Yannick. So if there's something that I'm doing that is not wrong, you will not tell me. Will you be afraid to tell me become your bishop?
Definitely do.
You should not. You should tell me. Because the only way you can help me to be better is to tell me so that I know what the situation is. Then I'll see also how to model my life. But we are too negative sometimes that we forget the goodness. That we forget the goodness as far as people are concerned. And I'm telling you that in this very government, there are very good people there. In this very government, there are very holy people there. In this very government, there are people who are doing their best every day in order to be better. But since sometimes the society may have already tagged anybody who belongs to the government, there's always that possibility of looking at the ministers and the governors and the government officials as if they are all bad people, which is not true.
Well, now, across Boya and across the world, if you're just tuning in, this is a special edition of Mountain Echoes, and it is beaming live from Divine Mercy Radio Television. Tonight, we are looking at the growing criticisms, especially on social media, about the alleged silence of church leaders, church authorities in Cameroon, and the conception that the too much affinity of authorities, of the religious authorities with those in governance compromise their ability to question them and speak truth to power. We are here with His Lordship Michael BIBI, and we are saying it as it is. And if you've also been watching, this from His Lordship Michael BIBI, who is here to answer every question in as far as it is in line with building a prosperous nation. Now, you too can send your own contribution if you have any. And we're definitely going to be asking the bishop whatever you have to ask him with regard to the present situation in Cameroon. My Lord, we are getting into it, and I think that I am becoming very, very contented with some of the things you're saying. I must say I'm also learning a lot of those things that you're saying, because sometimes we're swayed by some of these messages that go online. But I still have more queries. I still have more things to ask you. Let's look at the 2025 presidential election. It's been one phenomenon that has shaken the very fabrics on which this nation is built. At some point in time, many felt that the nation was going to be deteriorating to a very complex situation, but we thank God everything went differently. But then there were so many people who are still hurting, and they feel that the church is silent. The church says nothing in the wake of this very concerning situation. Is the church really silent in the wake of the political situation?
Yannick, you can bear with me that the church has not been silent. The church has not been silent. As I mentioned to you already, on the 25th of March, the bishops wrote about the presidential elections. And when the bishops wrote about the presidential elections, there were recommendations that they gave. And if those recommendations were sent out, it was also expected that the competent authorities were supposed to make use of these recommendations. And as I told you, when we went to the Unity Palace, we gave these recommendations. You want to hear what we think? It's not only the few bishops who are here. This is what all the bishops of Cameroon think. And this is what we gave. And of course, the role of the church was not only giving those recommendations. Individual bishops in their different dioceses, they had to talk to their people, they had to sensitize their people that they should vote according to their conscience. They should not be manipulated by anybody to go and vote. And whoever they are voting, they should vote someone that they know that will be able to deliver the goods. I remember being in the Diocese of Boya, through Dmrtv and my communication service, I had posts that I was sending out every day, to try to form the consciences of people. That is what we did. Of course, the elections came, and we also prayed. We also prayed that things should be done and done properly, so that the campaigns, the elections, the proclamation of the result, everything after that, that everything should be in order. That was our prayer. That was our wish. At the end of the day, the elections took place. I know that the elections took place, before the elections took place, beginning with the campaign, in the Southwest and the Northwest region, we're under lockdown.
That's right.
We're under lockdown. And under the lockdown, which means that in some areas in the Northwest and the Southwest region, people could not vote. I don't know whether the people who did campaigns went to those areas. I don't know whether on the day of the elections, all those who were supposed to vote, whether they voted. But at the end of the day, the elections took place. And at the level of the National Episcopal Conference, we have this Justice and Peace Commission. And the Justice and Peace Commission, at the level of the Episcopal Conference of Cameroon, during that time, the president of this commission is the President Archbishop of Bamenda and president of the National Episcopal Conference. He had demanded that they should give us 307 opportunities to give us, I think, the voting stations, that we need polling stations. Yes, that they should assign us to those places. We are assigned on 202, and out of the 307. So the observers from the National Episcopal Conference could not go to 105, but they went to 202. And these observers were given training. Remember the Diocese of Boya, we sent people to Yaoundé. They were given training on what to look for and how to follow up things. And they went, and the elections in that the president called, the president of the commission. And after that, he wrote a report, the report that he got from the field, from the observers in the 202 polling stations, that the Catholic Church was present there. And of course, from the results, the people who went out, they gave information, how the elections were organized, how things moved on smoothly, how the votes were counted with the people there, and everything. They gave the positives. But at the same time, they also realized that there were also some inconsistencies as far as the voting was concerned. And there are situations in which maybe they went to the procès verbal, the document that is supposed to be signed.
The return sheet. Yes,
the return sheet was signed only at the beginning and at the end.
The end of the pages. And
yes,
the
so the middle page was not signed, which the observers thought that was not proper. There were polling stations on the field that were not on the list of those that were approved by ELECAM. Yes. The electoral list was not up updated. Because the people who were dead, but whose names were still found in there. So when these reports were given by our own observers, the president of the conference, who is the head of this commission, wrote and sent it out. What our observers saw, what were the successes, what were the challenges, and all the rest. So if you say that the church is silent, I totally agree. I totally agree. That is a misconception from those who don't want to see what the church is doing. But God sees us. God sees us because we are not silent. We are on the spot. And we try to make sure that what we have to do as our moral responsibility for the good of the people, that we do it. And we are not going to change from that position to make sure that we speak when it is necessary, and we also make sure that we do not allow anything that is within our competence to handle to flip up our hands. And that is why the church cannot be accused of being silent. Because if people have been reading, if they have been following up, they would have seen what is happening and the reality of what the church is doing.
Right. Now, my Lord, the take away from the letter the bishops wrote on the 25th of March 2025 was that the population should come out massively and vote, but not only to vote, but to protect their vote. And it appears the population heeded to that call from the bishops. We saw on the 12th of October the massive turnout, but that it did not end at that. After 6 p.m., we saw people using their phones to count their votes, and they were there on camera. They saw that this person has won in this police station and all of that, and it would appear things changed along the line. I mean, from the opinion, from what we have, and this concept of legality and legitimacy has been frequently coming up, and all of that. Many persons feel like the voting outcome, just like the bishops had called and the people protected their votes, wasn't reflected at the national level. And so people felt that maybe for some reasons the church should also make a statement about legality and legitimacy. But the church has been silent on that.
The church has not been silent because, as I mentioned to you, we sent our own observers. They went there, they came back, they gave us updates, and we communicated. The church is not part of the process to take results from one level to the other. We in the church, we believe that the areas where these votes were counted, everything was done there and all the rest, we believe that that is the result that is supposed to be transmitted. At the same time, we are also hearing that in some places, the people people were told that they voted in certain places when there were actually no votes there. We are also, take for instance, in the Northwest and the Southwest region, in most of the areas where they are set,
kind of inflation
inflation of the number of the voters who were there, and there are even some party members who had to resign because they said, no, this what we are seeing here is not the reality. So it is true that there was election ringing in certain areas. It is true. And if there was election ringing, the question that we should ask ourselves is, if the Northwest and the Southwest were having this crisis that we're having, there was lockdown, there was ghost town, people were not supposed to vote, how was the voting carried out in those areas? I cannot explain. I can only say what I know. There have been the cry that the voting was rigged in certain areas. The results that were sent were manipulated. What the Constitutional Council gave was not the true picture and all the rest. Only those who have facts and statistics can talk about that. We don't have it. But we know that there is a possibility that happened. And if we don't have it, we can talk about it. We can talk about it.
Right, my lord. I should tell you that there is an avalanche of messages that are coming in. People are reacting and they need their concerns. So before we go in with more questions, I think that we should also look at what people are saying, and we're encouraging the audience to send as much as they can. Send your contributions, and we'll definitely be talking with the bishop. This is the first reaction. He says, the bishop said they gave recommendations to the Secretary General when they met with him before the election. What were some of these recommendations, and were there any suggestion that the Biya government should not, the Biya government wasn't helping Cameroonians to meet the development goal of 2035 by the same government? That's a question. Like, what were the recommendations, and was there anyone that suggested that the Biya government wasn't helping Cameroonians to meet development goal of 2035? And the person has decided not to send the name. Well, we're encouraging every viewer to, if you're contributing, please be man enough to send your name. But from previous text messages that this same person has been sending over Dmrtv, we can intimate that his name is Felix Diko from Muya. So reading the previous text messages. So Felix Diko has asked that question. I don't know if I should read more and then you react collectively, or
one, so it goes a bit. I mean, I have mentioned 2 documents. The message of the bishops at the end of the 48th annual seminar of bishops of Cameroon that took place in Boya. If he wants a copy, we can send him the copy. I've also spoken about the pastoral letter on the elections that was done on the 25th of March 2025. So if his concern is that area, let him look at these 2 documents to get the details of what we said inside. And if he doesn't have, he could send his number, and you have the documents, yes, you forward to him.
Yes, I think that Mr. Diko, that answers your question. Good evening, my Lord Bishop Michael BIBI. My name is Marcel, and I'm watching you from Bamenda. In your conscience, that is, in your conscience, don't believe in the overwhelming result in favor. Okay, in your conscience, do you believe in the overwhelming result in favor of President Paul Biya in the Northwest and the Southwest region? That's the first question. And do you actually believe that President Paul Biya won the election, given the information at your disposal? It's coming from Marcel, writing from Bamenda.
Yes, you are talking to my conscience. The information that I have at my disposal as far as elections are concerned are the information that the Constitutional Council gave us, sent us information, or sent me information. As I was not part of a LECAM, neither was I part of the Constitutional Council. The only results that I know, results came from this person here, this year, and all the rest. The only official results that I have and that I saw, like all of us did, was what the Constitutional Council brought out. So, if what they brought out shows that he won the elections, then he won the elections. If there's another person who thinks that, then they only have to bring it and because these are things that, those other results, I cannot give my head for it because I cannot vouch for it. So the only thing is, they can go to court. If there are other results that are contested, and they
go to court again because the Constitutional Council has declared. The Constitutional Council is the biggest court of the land.
So I don't have the facts about the result. From what was presented, we're told that Paul Biya won the election. Right. And he is talking from the Northwest. I think he won in the Northwest, nearly in all the places.
That's the second question he's asking you. That he's still asking about your conscience.
Yes.
That you should talk about. Do you believe about the results of the
Northwest and elections? I know that there was ghost town. And I know that some places when I voted, and
but
some people
had 5,000 people who voted.
I was not there. if they say they voted for the president 5,000, only those who have responsibility on somebody where I wasn't. I'm even surprised that you had all those numbers there, because I knew that there was ghost town. People were not supposed to go out to vote.
Yeah. Also, judging from the fact that the place has been deserted owing to the security concerns. Yes. So we're wondering where they came from. Well, he's asked your conscience and you're giving him...
I'm giving him, that's his opinion. Yes, and I'm saying that I cannot, Yannick, I cannot say that those people voted or did not vote, because I was not there. But from the statistics that they said they voted. So anybody who has a problem with that should go and meet the person who declared that and let them see whether that actually happened or not. How do you want the bishop to get that information?
Being the moral voice of the voiceless, you can be able to look, you can easily decipher between the truth and...
What do you mean? That has nothing to do with the moral voice.
Maybe from the expectations,
from the opinion. We don't deal with opinions of people. People have 1,000,001 opinions. Respect the church.